Hello, welcome to Gayboy Vlog. Uh, for those who didn't know, I vlog all the time. The only thing is, I don't share those online because there's basically journaling to me. But I do really enjoy talking to a microphone or a camera. So much so that I'm like, can't I just do something with this? Can't I just not be a perfectionist and just make something that I can't post online? So hence, welcome to the first public gay boy vlog. Now, I've made vlogs in the past, public vlogs as well, but they were really hectic, and I was really over in my head about how I could make them as appealing as possible, if they would have a theme, how I could do the editing in a funny way. But it just, that just kept me from doing what I do best, which is taking some time, sitting with myself, and just talking. I am a huge fan of podcasts, and I know that being a man with a podcast is oof. But how funny is it if you can say yeah, I transitioned. And you know what I did with that? You know what I did when I transitioned? I became a man with a podcast. Because ultimately that's what this is, right? I just want to be able to talk about the things that keep me busy and have it be an interaction with the people that watch this. I mean, it's for myself, obviously, but I have been making very, very personal content most of my life on the internet, so that people may know me a little bit, because I am terrible at in real life vulnerability. I'm getting better at it, but as a child of the internet who started their internet addiction at age 14 instead of during Corona, I feel like this is how I've always interacted with people, is by making something personal, then putting it out into the world, and then connecting with people through that. And I think, in a way, my core audience for this is also just my friends, or people who can relate to me. I'm here with bunny ears, a pink gamer chair, and a pink microphone, not because I want to become popular with straight cis dudes, although straight cis dudes, I am catering to you halfway, I have to say. But also because I want to cater to other funny trans queers, who get it, who get why I'm doing what I'm doing. On a more personal note, it's been exactly a year, or around a year, since I've reclaimed this room in my house. I'll explain a little bit about that. This used to be the room where my ex-boyfriend, mind you, my ex, did everything. He slept here, he worked here, he gamed here. Sure, he did other stuff throughout the house, but this was his room. And towards the end of my relationship with him, it really became him sitting in here all day long, and me not knowing what to do with that. So when he left, obviously this room was very what the fuck do I do with this, And there were many more issues, because a year ago was also when I first started to acknowledge, I might actually have a burnout. And I'm still recovering from that. People who might have been following me for a longer time know that I've stopped really making long form content for a long time, because I have been in burnout for a long time, and my own standards are so ridiculously high for what I put out that I just have not been able to put out what I wanted to put out, which is what I'm trying sort of to break through with this. So me having a burnout and an empty room, I really just didn't know what to do with it. But through the year, as I got through the burnout, things had to escalate pretty badly. But as I got through the burnout, I realized like this is actually one of the nicer rooms in the house. No wonder my ex spent here all day every day. And then I started redecorating it a little bit by bit, and I started sleeping here as well, because this is actually one of the more quiet rooms in the house, and I'm very sound sensitive with my burnout. And eventually this just became my room. And now I have this little setup that I built in one night on an ADHD impulse. So now it's not just my bedroom, but it's also just my room where I plan to like make fun content for myself, but ultimately also for you. The breakup was one of the hardest breakups. We're talking about, if we're kicking it back to the ex thing, the breakup last year was one of the hardest things that I had to go through, honestly, because I did not just have to break up with someone. I had to also see that the way I'd been approaching relationships and the way that I had been approaching myself was bogus. You know, I have had very many relationships in which I tried so hard to adjust myself and grow around the other person. And that works to a certain point, to a certain degree, because you're supposed to like give a little, take a little, but I mostly gave. I was often a parental figure in the relationships that I had, and I really had to see like you can't do that anymore, because you refuse. In that way you also refuse yourself. And that was very much true, because this all sort of coincided with me realizing that I was actually a trans man. I'm very excited, by the way, about that. That I was a gay trans man, and I was adjusting so hard that I effectively went back into the fucking closet for a few years. So as I broke up, I lost a lot of my support system. I had a burnout. I did not know how to ask for help. I went to therapy, but I had like really shitty therapists. But I did figure like I need to make sure that from now on I am looking out for myself and I'm not making myself dependent on a relationship. Now, that last part is a little bit because of course when you're adjusting your self-image in any way, or you're adjusting yourself in a new way, you might overshoot a little bit. Because I went to like this state of hyper independence last summer, which only made the burnout way worse. Because I was like, I can never like rely on other people like that again. But surprise, surprise, that's also not how it works. But I did make, I think, a really good list for myself, and I found this the other day, and it makes me quite emotional, of what it is that I want in life. We're now looking back approximately a year later, and I'm so happy that I decided, or I saw like I can't do it the way I've been doing it anymore. And I wrote it on a piece of self-made pink paper, very appropriate. And it says, the things I want in life. To start living for myself instead of others. Hey. Which means no more people pleasing, no more fear. Now this is a very crucial one. I used to make a lot of decisions based out of the fear that people would not like me, that people would leave me. And this is, I feel like, a very common thing for very sensitive people. It's like, you want other people to stay in your life, ergo you make the choices that you think are gonna make you the most liked out of fear. Not because you feel like that's like the healthiest thing to do, no, but because you think that that's the, I guess, the most tactical thing to do. That doesn't work like that, because people need to know what you need as well for you to have a healthy relationship. And this doesn't just go for relationships, this goes for friendships as well, and I've really learned this the hard way this year. It also says that I wanted to fully transition. Anyway, I'm now like back on testosterone for 1.5 years. My voice has significantly deepened. I can still do this. Like, I can still sound like how I sounded last year. And if I'm just around gay people who sound like that, I will also sound very girly. So we did that. High five, chat. We did that. I'm still on the way, by the way. Still have to get mastectomy and all the other shit, but I get my testosterone from an official endocrinologist now. Endocrinologist. Fucking hate that word. Love the endocrinologist. Please pick a name that's easier to pronounce. The third one is, I want to truly know myself and the shape of my soul and honor it. I mean, I am a very poetic man, what can I say? And I feel like I've really gotten to know myself better. I can say that, but I can't really quite pinpoint, like, apart from how more self-aware I am, what that means to know your soul better. I feel like I'm more true to myself, and that really has to do also with living for yourself. And the next one, to make things because it gives me energy and joy. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. It's like, I don't know if this will do anything for other people, but I really need to let go of whether something that I enjoy doing is going to be marketable in any way. Because I am still, like, very obsessed deep down of, like, is this gonna go anywhere? Is this gonna be liked by anyone? It shouldn't matter. As long as I get energy out of doing something, that's what matters. Of course, you want to spend your time well, but you also want to spend your time alive instead of chasing what you think is, like, what gets us the highest number. And that's a very prevalent thing right now, of course, in, like, social media. Late stage capitalism is like, you should spend your time in a way that really, like, is most efficient. Bitch, I'm disabled and I just want to make stuff. Like, I just want to be able to put out stuff that I enjoy doing. And sure, I'll get a side job at some point, but for now, I should also have fun. Otherwise, I'm just, like, sad and in pain every day with no real drive, you know? So yeah, the act of creation. And this is, oh my god, the next ones. Yeah, the next ones are all very relationship oriented, but not in a bad way. The next one says, to be loved and held close by a partner who truly sees me. Now, this is something really special. I obviously went back into the closet last few years. I had a partner who did not like to acknowledge that I was queer. I mean, he acknowledged it, but he did not, like, enjoy that I was really into drag. He did not enjoy that I was basically a trans man. That I am a trans man. I'm sure that if we hadn't had a relationship, he would have stood behind me as a friend, but seeing how he was my partner and he had to reflect upon what it meant to be in a relationship with an actual man and what that would make him, he couldn't deal with it. And to me, it's so important now that I have a current boyfriend who has not only gotten to know me as a man, but also just like straight up refuses to see me as anything else. Like, I'll show him pictures from my past and he'll be like, I can sort of see that that's your face shape, but you're just a boy. Like, you're just a boy with long hair cosplaying as a girl really convincingly. I'm like, you're so right, babe. And it's also like emotional vulnerability is so difficult for me because of my last relationship with my ex. But my current man just makes me feel so seen. And I think out of all of the things that I wrote down last year, I think I am the most amazed that this actually came true, because you don't know how your fucking life's gonna go. You don't know who you're gonna meet. You don't know. Maybe you'll be single for like a really long time, and that's okay. It's just, to me, someone who has found out that they actually have a physical disability throughout the last year, and who has a burnout and who needs so much time. It's so nice to have a companion who likes you, who adores you, and who wants to be there for you in a way that, a partner is. And I'm not saying that friends haven't been there for me. Friends have also been there for me, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's just nice to come home to someone who really wants to hug you. It's just really fucking nice. And that's kind of what it also says, the next one, is to have close friendships and meaningful relationships with people I like. Because what I ended up doing the last few years as a people pleaser is, like, if people approached me with the sort of like, hey, you seem like a cool person, we might not be very compatible, but I think I should be your friend. I'd be like, okay, I guess. It's that people pleasing. That's that fear of rejection also makes you scared of rejecting other people. Because, again, you are so like, oh, if that person gets rejected by me, then I make them feel so bad because I always feel bad when I get rejected. It's like, I've been friends, and not necessarily recently, but I've been friends in the past with people where I brought most of the adult energy to the friendship, and to them it was just convenient that I was like, a very caring person. And I don't know, this new version of me, the guy who's like realized that he doesn't want to do that anymore. He's like, no, I want to be friends with cool people with their own personalities and their own like actual adult life. Like, what the fuck? So I'm picking out my own friends. That's what it comes down to, basically. And it's still difficult because, you can't guarantee that if you like a person and you think like, oh, this person would make a great friend, I bet. That doesn't guarantee that they have the same intentions and the same time span for you. But, it's worth a try. It's worth investing. In the end, you get the most stuff out of the thing that you invest the most in. And I just wanted to invest more in the friendships that I found interesting versus the friendships that found me interesting, I guess. It's the next one took me a while. To allow myself to have sexual attraction for others without shame. Now this one actually took like good half a year to get over, because I have had a very complex relationship with my sexuality for a long time, in that I've had a lot of asexual partners in the past, or partners who just were not as high libido as me. And that's totally fine. That's totally okay. What it does, however, is made me very self-conscious of being a weird little pervert. And there's nothing wrong with being a weird little pervert. I'm just gonna come out and say it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, if you're constantly surrounded by people who find that odd, you're gonna find it odd too. And you're gonna think, oh, there's inherently something wrong with that. That's what happened to me, at least. And I felt weird for, needing sexual attention. Even up to like last year, November, I was like so in my head about like, why do I need this? Why do I want this? Why is this so important to me? But it's just, some people need sex, some people don't. And this has always been a really big drive for me to express myself sexually through drag. But that doesn't actually guarantee that I get, the expression that I need, which is like, I just need to fuck somebody. Yeah, but slowly but surely, last year, through like hookups with friends, through conversations with others, through a fling here and there, I realized, oh, I'm not the only one who's horny. This is actually quite a normal thing in other people's lives. I've just had a really weird, specific situation where I was always the horniest one. But the world is quite horny, actually. I feel for the asexuals because now that I've seen it from the other side, I'm like, yeah, the world is very horny. But it just felt like I was not allowed to express that as a big part of my identity, because it felt so... Again, I was very used to being a very, like, palatable... Very, strictly clean image of myself. In that sense, my local gay community has really helped with that, because sex is such a normal topic. And I also think, like, in a way, we should talk more about sex so that it becomes a more normal thing again, because it has been so sanitized, especially in places from the internet, that, weird little freaks like me think that it's, like, completely unacceptable to talk about it when they're still in their shame era. But it's not. It's just part of the human condition, baby. Okay, we're almost through the list, I promise. The next one: become better at confrontation, draw boundaries loud and clear. This one is a bitch because it's hard. I want to say that I'm in my confrontational era, and I want to say that, like, I have confronted people, and I have, but it's still really difficult because I have been raised in such a non-confrontational way where I just, like, became very good at being diplomatic and very good at, like, talking to people and telling them what they wanted to hear, but never really saying, like, that actually really hurt me and I didn't enjoy that and that wasn't good. I'm getting better at it, but there's always going to be certain people in your life, often family, that are so used to being in a certain way that it's almost like, is it going to be worth to have this confrontation? Is it going to be worth to tell them how you really feel? Because it's really hard to break, 30 years of a certain pattern. But I'm trying. And most of the time now, I think what helps me the most is, like, instead of letting something build, you confront something about something you find. You confront someone about something you find annoying right away. Like, you don't wait until you get angry. You don't wait until it's like a big thing at the end of the day. You just go like, hey, that small thing that you just did, I didn't enjoy that. And then you can just go on. And it's really scary still, but we're trying. And also, I have been drawing better boundaries towards myself. Like, I used to really push myself. Like, right now, I'm starting to feel a little achy in my back because I've been having chronic pain problems, and I'm starting to get a headache because of that. And I'm like, no, now I know, like, okay, that's my body telling me, in a bit, you should probably stop doing this and go do something else. Learn to sit and acknowledge with the difficult feelings. That one has been really hard because it's so normal to talk over the things that we find uncomfortable. But it is so important. I have had a lot of traumatic experiences in my life. Not in a way that, you know, people might expect. But there is so much grief that I have found difficult to process in the last 10 years that has caught up with me. Because I'm so good at avoiding, again, conflict, confrontation. You also avoid the confrontation with your own emotions. But it is so much better to say, I did not ask for these things to happen to me, instead of saying it is what it is. Because if we talk, of course, we have to cope sometimes. We just have to pull through and tell ourselves it is what it is. But sometimes we really did not ask for a family member to die. Actually, I'm pretty sure nobody asks for that. We never ask for the trauma that a really shitty job gives us, or a really shitty homing situation gives us. We don't ask for it. We didn't ask for it, and it does suck. And we are allowed to acknowledge this, and we are allowed to sit with it. It's hard. That's the thing. Like, it's so much easier to go like, it happened, we move on, we don't acknowledge it, we don't cry about it, we just go. But I am a very sensitive person, and it just sits in my body. Like, I literally know, like, the way that I am right now, the way that I have a physical disability right now, is because I have been stressed and not acknowledging it for, like, the last 7 to 10 years. I don't know why I'm honing in on this so much, but this is so important. And there's a lot of stuff that I just, like, barreled through that is, like, big things in life. But I think this one is one of the most important ones. The next one is to know what I truly want and act on it. Oh. Once we've gotten out of that, like, I can't acknowledge what is difficult, it also has to do with, like, you know, acknowledging what we really want. I find it really easy to have big dreams. I find it really easy to have big ideas. None of them are always good. I have ADHD, so half of them are very impulsive. And I had to acknowledge also, like, my brain is working overtime to make stuff up that I could want one day. Doesn't mean that I actually want it. But the things that I do want, I often find very difficult to approach because I want them too badly. I think of them as too big of a hurdle and make them really big in my mind. And then, you know, then I don't act on them because I'm like, how am I ever gonna do that? That's too much. I would never be able to succeed. I would never be able to get there. I don't know what to do about it. I don't even know where to start. And, like, yeah, I basically make myself scared because I put the bar too high. And I've been trying to work around this. I think what's most important is that I need to learn to delegate and needs to know, like, yeah, this needs to be, I need to put the bar a little lower. Because, for example, doing this, I'm probably gonna get worried, like, is it interesting enough? Is it cool enough? Is it visually appealing enough? Because, you know, it's just me sitting here in a room. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. You make shitty stuff so that you can make good stuff in the end. And I've been really feeling this recently about writing songs. I really want to write and perform my own songs. And the first one that has, like, really formed into his own full song has been, like, really well received by live public every time I perform it somewhere in the club. But then I'm also, like, worried, like, will it actually, if I publish it, will it actually go anywhere? And I really need to stop thinking about those things and just start making. Because otherwise it's not gonna happen. You know, like, otherwise it will always all just be a dream. And I can't rely on stressing myself into doing it anymore. I can't rely on my old coping mechanisms anymore, because that's what led to this burnout. But we'll just have to find new ways to do it. And, you know, maybe I can ask other people, like, will you sometimes, actually, you watching right now, will you sometimes remind me that I really wanted to make songs and that I should be working on songs and writing and stuff like that sometimes? Yeah? And that I really want to make videos? Because if you remind me, I will probably do it more. Because, you know, it's nice when people hold you accountable. I'm not gonna lie, the ADHD really enjoys that. I should also just take ADHD meds, but that's for another time. I'm noticing I'm having a really hard time with having, like, an ending to this thing. So I think I'm just gonna keep it brief. Thank you so much for watching, especially for those who watched all the way through. This has been very personal, but nonetheless, it felt very, like, energizing for me. And if you have difficulty letting go, confronting, know that it's a matter of acknowledging, and it's a matter of doing. But again, I'm not your dad, so it's also just fun if this was entertaining to you. Mwah! Goodbye, babes!